so much of what we do is we'll pick up a report and it will be referring to a CAT scan or an MRI. So what I want to do is, once I give you the foundation of medicine, I'm going to explain to you how these tests work, and I'm going to have you actually reading diagnostic tests. Another issue that you will come across in telemedicine is not only the jurisdiction issue that I told you about, not only did the doctor do a necessary medical background on the patient, but the next one is practicing medicine without a proper license. And the attorney says to me, I got one for you. I asked him in interrogatories if he's ever had a prior back problem, and he said no. And I did a docket search and I found your case where he sued for a back injury. So Stan, what's the status of your case? I said, it's closed, it's done. I said, he says to me, do you still have your medical records? I said, they're in storage, I still have them. He says, listen, will you do me a favor? Would you give me a copy of the medical records so I can use them in my case? Because he's lied and said that he's never had prior back problems and never saw a doctor. And I want to use it for cross-examination purposes. Can I give him the records? Well, you say no. So sometimes when people have back pain and they get a diagnostic test done, you'll see the radiologist will say the person has foraminal stenosis. What that means is these holes, the foramen we know is the hole. Stenosis means narrowing. Stenosis just means narrowing. So if you have foraminal stenosis, it means the hole is smaller than it should be. So what happens with foraminal stenosis is a lot of times it's from arthritis. You start getting overgrowth of bone. It makes the hole smaller. And now the wire that's coming out, the spinal nerve that's coming out, because the hole is so small, it's now catching and squeezing the nerve root. And that's causing pain down the extremity. And you'll see the radiologist will say there's foraminal stenosis. So we know it's coming from the hole being too small. Why not? Because you don't know what kind of back surgery was done. It's amazing how many people and how many adjusters lump back surgery all together. And you cannot do it. I'm going to take you through the most common back surgeries. And I assure you, there is a big difference in the procedures and how they're done and what they're worth. Okay, so basically, it's the other 10% is C5, C6, C6, C7. These are the 4 areas of your spine that are most susceptible to traumatic injuries. Why? What is going on that it's these areas? And this is what's going to help you understand what is and what is not related to trauma. Almost all of them. You defense attorney. How about 64%? 64% is what the study, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, is where this study is. I use it all the time if I'm defending a herniated disc case. Doctor, you say this herniated disc is from the accident. Did this patient have an MRI before the accident? No. Doctor, are you aware of the study in the New England Journal of Medicine about how many healthy asymptomatic people have herniated discs on MRI? Let me give you the other side. I just gave you the defense point of view. Let me give you the plaintiff's point of view. All right, fine. But you got to take the plaintiff as you find them, right? Yeah. So, if that was there before the accident, that means the person is susceptible to a herniation, right? Because there's already a pre-existing weakness. So, doctor, if you didn't have an MRI before the accident, how do you know that it didn't arise after the accident if you don't have no comparison? Anatomically, to explain a whiplash injury to you, your head weighs 6.2% of your body's weight. So that means in a 160-pound person, which is the size of the average male, your head will weigh 10 pounds. All right? So what is something that weighs 10 pounds that resembles the head? Well, it's going to be a bowling ball. So think about it. Whiplash injury. There's a bowling ball sitting on my head. And the only thing holding that bowling ball onto my head are pieces of tape. That's what holds my head in place, tape, the ligaments and stuff. So if I get hit from behind by a several thousand-pound object, my neck is going to go flying forward, and then it will come whipping back. Now, my head's not going to come off. But what's going to happen is that 10 pounds is going to stretch all those pieces of tape that's holding in place. That's whiplash. I have to tell you, I've done a lot of research to see if you can tear it in an accident. And I will tell you that I can't find one article in the medical literature that says you can do it in a car accident. But I will tell you that I found a whole slew of lawyers' websites that say you can. All right. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. How would you tear a rotator cuff in a car accident? Well, I guess if I'm leaning up against the door, I'm on the side, and the car hits me from the side, and it smashes into the side, and the window then smashes into my shoulder, I could tear a rotator cuff that way. And what happened? My knee hurt right away, and it swelled up. Can he hurt his meniscus in that accident like that? His leg flew up off the floor, and he hit his knee under the dashboard. All right, there's no twisting. He can't injure his meniscus in that accident like that. What he needs to say to me is, listen, I was sitting there minding my own business, my feet were on the floor, and I get hit from the side, and the next thing I know, I got thrown over to the passenger side. And my foot was on the ground, and all I know is I remember my knee hurting me. All right, that is a twist then. I get my knees on the ground, and I get thrown like this, and I twist my body when I get thrown over. Right? That's how it's supposed to happen.